He did today.
It is 7 o'clock. Let's call this meeting to order. Let's do roll call. Lacey's already here. We know this.
Brian sending word to.
Deborah McIsaac, Mayor.
Nikki Oyen, Ward 1 this week.
Brian McGreen word to.
Travis Sugar's Ward 1.
Johnson, City Attorney.
All present and accounted for. We have Justin Heim on remote. And let's do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's
Awesome.
ISG cups, but no ISG hats.
Oh, is that duly noted, Justin? I hope so. So. Gotta look and see.
Girls wear hats too, just so he knows.
See you later in a minute.
Did not see anything on the minutes.
You're muted.
I've read these already, yes, and I didn't say.
The chicken.
Let's read.
You could be called worse.
Yeah.
Are you okay, Justin? Do you know that you're muted? Are you good with that? You can nod. I can see you. Okay, perfect. Cool. Okay, let's look at November 21st minutes. Any questions? Any comments?
I'll make a motion to approve the November 21 minutes.
Nikki's making the first.
I'll second.
Travis is making the second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes. Let's go to claims payable. Claims payable, I think that's the green sheet, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Hey Lacey, how many payments, where are we at with in the contract for the dump truck? Do you know when the payoff is on that?
One of them is coming due in June or July.
I think that's the 1750, if I remember right. Those dump trucks after that, or is F-250 already done,
No, the F-250 should be a 90.
or whatever year? I thought F-250 was before the
No,
dump truck.
I don't know which one came first.
I guess F-250 did.
Did it so
That was
that
the year when I started, and then the dump truck was
later?
like right as I started, so.
She had that list.
Yeah, I know, I don't know.
It's nothing you have to find right now. It's just, I was just being nosy, so.
There's some years left on it.
I was thinking Linda had it that one of
It's the
them.
pickup that'll be paid off.
Paid off, yeah.
Any other questions? Good question. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve, the claims from November 22nd to December 13th of 2023.
Okay, Nikki, Ryan, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. On to public time. I need to make a request to the council to be able to move our, new business aid, which is Liberty Coffee and Espresso Peddler's license, up to public time, if that's okay with you guys.
Sounds great.
Yep.
We'll just make that little edit. We're gonna bring that up. So we bring you guys right up right now. Isn't that great? So we have a new business in town called Liberty Coffee and Espresso. They have a bus that, serves coffee and other fun things. And so they have gone through all of the hoops and hooplas to, be able to establish this business in our fine city of Baltic. And so what they're looking for is the permission to be able to sell in Baltic. And so they are here tonight to ask for a peddler's license. How's that?
Fantastic.
Better not good enough.
Is that exactly what you want?
Do you guys have any questions for him? Peddler's license is pretty standard, right, John?
Yes.
Okay.
What did I just say yes to?
You're gonna give me $1 million?
Exactly. That hard.
Weak coffee.
Yeah.
Do we have all the paperwork for them ready to go?
Well, yes. Did you want to talk about a bond? Or
Sure.
Did you want to talk about?
Sure.
Yep.
Didn't we
You
have,
give the explanation. Here's the guy.
For a bond.
We have
No,
not.
we were a bit,
Are
right on this area.
yeah, so
They are
Teach us.
peddlers. Are you? I mean, we have, it's kind of a goofy term, but
Well,
Well, what did we do for the ice cream truck?
so, yeah, what did we do? They had a,
it's a peddler's license.
Yeah.
Which kind of sounds demeaning,
It does.
but it's
Well,
kind
no
of the
offense.
old, yeah, it's the old.
if you were a standard brick and mortar, then it would be different. But because you're mobile and it's not a standard brick and mortar, then it falls under the category of peddler's license. So then you fall under all of the ordinance requirements of a peddler's license. And so that's where that comes. So a bond, the surety bond.
I sent Lacey and Deborah an email, that, is it up to 1,000, not to exceed 1,000, up to 1,000? So the council needs to decide, what the face amount of a surety bond should be. And,
Actually, what's the surety bond for? I was under the
Well-
impression it was for if you're doing work on personal property.
Right, like a
Other
contractor.
people's
well,
property.
you look at the ordinance.
But
And I didn't bring the email with me, but the ordinance, as I recall, has 3 different purposes for which the proceeds of a surety bond could be claimed. Potentially by a consumer, like if there was fraud involved. Really what the peddler's license works best for is door-to-door sales.
Yes,
And that's really what it was designed for. And we really don't have another box to put you in other than a peddler, because you don't have a fixed business location. The other would be if someone's injured, potentially. I know you've got liability insurance, I'm sure.
Yeah, we have
commercial.
commercial
auto
auto
and
and
vehicles.
yeah.
But the second would be if there was some obligation owed to the city that you didn't pay. Now, it's an ordinance, so nobody here, including me or the council, has the authority to waive it. So for you to get a peddler's license, you have to post a bond in the amount that the council approves, not to exceed, is it not to exceed $1,000, Lacey? Can you find I can find the minute.
well, I'm looking at the emails right now, John. I haven't
Okay,
put it in my inbox.
Look along, it's not whatever we
Yeah,
have today.
I took Travis's phone on this. So.
Yeah.
We had anything.
Right.
I can
I'm gonna say whatever we did for the monkey business. we
Yeah,
did.
same standard. Or, yeah, or we ever did.
It's, so the ordinance says that when an application is made for a transient merchant and peddler, the transient merchant or peddler must file with the finance officer a bond with the city to be approved by the city council in the sum of up to $1,000, conditioned for the payment of any license fees to become due the city, should the merchant or peddler continue operation beyond the period of time for which he or she paid. So.
Is there a minimum then?
So basically, the
No, there isn't.
application
So
expense.
we could do like $100.
Well, you could. I mean, the surety bonds are really cheap. I'm a 401k administrator for my firm's retirement plan. I have a $500,000 bond that costs $50 a year.
No.
So we're not talking, we're, in theory, we're talking about pocket change in the realm of the overall scheme of things.
Make sure that we pay up on our license renewal. or-
Exactly. I mean, the bottom line is that, the old saying about, the taillight warranty from the transient merchant, the goods are warranted until you see the taillights disappear. See, this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a public policy that was enacted probably over a century ago. You've seen signs that say the Green River Ordinance enforced. Have you ever seen those signs? Well, it's without giving a history lesson, even though it's kind of interesting to me anyway. This state laws and the ordinances in universal application around the country all require the posting of a bond when a transient merchant is seeking a license to do business.
Okay.
It's to separate out those people that are legitimate, like yourselves, from some fly-by-night deal.
I got
Let's say that somebody came into town and was selling encyclopedias or children's books, and they didn't apply for a license. And they went door to door and they collected money from people and they signed contracts with no intention of ever sending the books. Well, they could leave town with thousands of dollars in their pocket. That's the kind of stuff that used to happen before these ordinances. Now, I suppose if the city council wanted to, you could make an exception for. You could make an exception for all kinds of things if you wanted to, but it would have to be done by an ordinance change, which nobody has time to do. And you want to get to You wanna get to selling your stuff, right?
Yeah, we wondering
You
because,
wanna make some money.
yeah, because, we, like I said, when we first got here, we just finished the Sioux Falls one, and I know, I guess everybody's different, every city. And all they required was just the insurance,
Additional.
additionally insured, listing them as additionally insured.
Yeah.
But they didn't mention a bond, and I didn't know what it was, so I'm glad you proved it.
Yeah,
So John, what would you recommend?
well, I don't know, I mean, we're setting a precedent
Yes,
whenever you, so what do we do for monkey business? What do we do for monkey business?
I don't recall discussing.
We didn't discuss any bond.
There you go.
Yeah, being you're selling goods right there on the spot, I mean, obviously, I don't know that a bond is completely necessary in this particular
Well,
situation.
we got an ordinance.
Can we
Set it for a small
make
amount.
a motion to waive that, or is that,
Well,
Said we couldn't do that.
you can't waive ordinance, I mean,
so can we just say, you know, we need you to get a bond, but don't exceed your investment in that bond to exceed $50.
you can post $100 bond if you want. I mean, I don't know if an insurance agent would even issue it because the premium would be so small.
The paperwork would cost more
Can
than.
we list you, Baltic, City of Baltic as additionally insured on our liability insurance?
Well, see,
Or is that not the
we're
same?
dealing with an ordinance.
Yeah, it's a
No,
law that we
federal
have to
government-
follow is the problem.
Yeah.
You know, the bottom line is that ordinances can't be waived, they're supposed to be enforced. Now, what if somebody, I'm not saying you do this, but what if somebody that didn't have a bond, I'm suggesting monkey business would do something awful, but what if they committed fraud? And somebody's out $1,000, a citizen involved, let's say they sold them merchandise at wholesale and they left town and didn't pay the bill.
Mhm.
Well, if they are half awake, they would look at the ordinance and go, wait a minute, city, you didn't post a bond, you owe me.
Right,
Because if you would have put it, what are we dealing with at Grand Park today?
Right.
It's the same blasted thing. You post a bond so that people don't have to sue the obligor under the bond.
mhm.
The person that's injured just goes to the bonding company and says, pay me.
Okay, so,
And so-
so basically what we need you to do is to go to your insurance agent and say that we need a bond. And it has to be a minimum of $1,000.
I was gonna say, I didn't know.
And I don't even know what that, it sounds like the investment would be minimal. Your insurance agent might say, we're not gonna do it for $1,000, but we'll do it for $50,000, but it'll cost you $20. You know,
Yeah.
kind of a thing. And so I think what the ordinance is that we require you to have a surety bond of a minimum of 1,000. If you want to do more, great. It doesn't sound like the investment is gonna be all that arduous. And then talk to your insurance agent. If you if you hit a huge snag, like it is a perilous investment, you know, let us know. Right? We still have to do an end of year meeting. So we're gonna have another
Okay.
meeting before the end of this month.
Okay.
So, you know, if you can do that and it works fine, it's not a big deal. But if you hit a serious snag, let us know and then we can address it before the end of your meeting. John's gonna give you a call.
Maybe,
Yeah,
Okay,
and I'll help you.
Yeah.
You know, there's any number of insurance agents.
right, yeah, I'm not trying to cover everyone.
Yeah.
sure.
Facts, I didn't.
And then this goes on our list of ordinances to review, because we have a lot of ordinances to review.
Right, and or sure, it's ordinance, it's an ordinance.
Oh,
I mean, but like, if we're not selling,
Yeah.
I'm promising goods, it's kind of, you know, you pay, here you go, right then and there.
Yeah,
Right,
Consumable,
right.
we're
but I
beholden,
understand,
we're beholden
right,
to that.
Law.
So,
Motor vehicle dealers are probably the most commonly encountered business that has to post a bond.
gotcha.
Package stockyards,
And
grain
contract
dealers, contract.
Right.
And the idea is that there's supposed to be a ready source available in case there's a wrong that's done. Nobody's assuming you're gonna do anything, but it's the ordinance and
so the actual vote that the council does need to make is to approve the peppers.
absolutely.
So I need a motion to
Just
approve,
subject to the
Yeah, just pending.
subject to the bond.
posting of
Okay.
a satisfactory.
Can I get a motion for that?
I'll make a motion to approve peddler's license pending the sufficient bond.
Second.
Brian, all those in favor say aye.
I,
Any opposed? Let us know what you can do. Thank you very much. We'll be looking forward to those samples soon.
We'll be looking forward to that.
next meeting.
Yeah, I can't wait. And then when you're ready to get going, let us know because we can get you on the Facebook and stuff like we promoted the other businesses. We're happy to let everybody know you're here and kind of do a splashy kickoff, that kind of thing. So let us know what we can do to help you.
Now-
We're very happy.
Something else I wanted to mention, we don't have a lot of it here in town, but, we also, and we'll have to get a bond as well, that maybe think of it saying contractors, but, we also paint parking lots, we have equipment and stuff, we do that around Sioux Falls and locations, so the school and stuff like that. We have the painting machines and stuff, or, you know, any of that stuff, so we can get
Or
bonded.
like crosswalks.
Register crosswalks, stuff like that.
Oh,
By the way.
yeah, right, like.
So if you're, friends,
And
if
Podrance.
somebody's out there with the little hand and the wheel.
That would have been
We
me.
have rights.
I was painting the Podrance. So, no, that's good to know.
Yeah.
That's good to know. Bring your
And that-
company information into City Hall so we are aware of that as well.
In that case, you might want to stop in the school board meeting.
Let them know.
Yeah, and talk to them.
Yeah, because that needs done probably every other year at least.
Well, and advocating locally is something we should all strive to do.
Yeah.
Well, we'd like to keep our business local.
Yeah,
Right, right.
So-
Yeah, we'll, you know, we do free estimates and all that stuff, so
perfect. Well, just,
Cool.
yeah, thanks for letting us know. Is there anything else we can do for you?
that's it.
Well, then,
Well,
Thank you.
thank you.
thank you so much.
We're thrilled to have you.
Thank
I'm so glad the bus. We were working.
Yeah.
I know, can't wait. What's your projected opening day if everything goes well?
Well,
It's called Monday.
the following Monday.
If we can get everything done?
We can start, you know, Sioux Falls, or whatever, but our goal is to start here in the mornings
Uh-huh.
and eventually kind of coast down there, and do a little bit of business down there as well.
That's fantastic. If you need to, partner up with any of the landowners, let us know. We can get you connected to.
Fantastic, that's a good point, we're gonna mention that, where.
Yeah, Just call City Hall and Lacey's got information about anyone that, has land that you might be able to park on. And I'm sure that there's a lot of landowners that would be happy to help you with that.
You bet.
Because we are all very excited about having a coffee shop in this town.
Yes.
So
Excellent.
very excited. Thank you very, very much. You're welcome to stay. I just wanted to make sure your house was taken care of.
And, you know, we're gonna give it a go, see how the business goes, and I know you got property stuff.
Yes, we do.
over there, so, maybe someday, if things are going well, I'd like to go brick and mortar.
You know, we have no objection to that whatsoever.
Nope.
Love it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
We
thank
good?
you.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you.
Yep, say hi to your kids.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, Merry Christmas. Okay, so now we're gonna loop back up to old business, okay? Do we want to have, I'm feeling like operating agreements is gonna require an executive session, so
You
do we,
think so?
I don't know. What do you think?
I think so. Yeah, planned. But it's okay.
Okay, so should we just go ahead and do that and get that out of the way? Or do you want to rearrange? What do you guys want to do?
Be that complicated unless there's some groundbreaking information that needs an executive session, or obviously if you have a.
I think we can handle it. You think?
Yeah.
Hopefully, should I start with the end in mind?
Sure.
Okay, the end in mind is what I would recommend to the council is that there be a motion made and duly seconded and approved that calls for the city to charge 11% markup on beverage alcohol other than malt beverages, which would be 5% markup. And that the mayor be authorized to work with me and Lacey and whoever else would want to be involved to prepare operating agreements to address the 2024 year for Sunday Cafe, which has a retail on sale license. Joseph 18 Mo Post 175, which has a retail license on sale, and I for alcohol in Classic Corner. A lot of people don't understand this, and I will tell you, there are substantially in excess of 100 statutes just in one chapter of the code on alcohol. It's a complex area of the law, and it takes quite a while to sort of be able to work it in your mind. And in addition, the city of Baltic has a history of owning and operating a municipal lounge and also owning video lottery machines. And that's
So,
done.
so let me restate that. So what you're saying is historically, for the majority of our history, the city actually owned and operated everything. So
73.
that's,
When I first became involved with the city of Baltic as city attorney, the city had a very busy municipal lounge and a number of video lottery machines, which the city owned.
Yep.
City owned it, city maintained them, dealt with the lottery commission and revenues and the Department of Revenue and sold alcohol, all kinds of alcohol on sale and off sale, including a packaged liquor store in the front of the building.
Yeah.
That I sort of wistfully looked at when I drove by it on the way here. And I thought that was a whole different operation. And I think along the way, especially starting in about 2020, I think the idea of how to manage operating agreements just sort of fell off the radar. Because it's an area where somebody has to devote a substantial amount of time to. So basically, currently, Classic Corner has a intact operating agreement that is rolled over and contains provisions that need to be revisited. The Legion typically used to provide for special event alcohol, and then along came Ron Jenks, and all of a sudden the bar pops up. And then Someday Cafe came into town. And of course, we all want this revenue, but along the way, the municipal lounge was sold and the city surplus the video lottery machines. And then the people that bought the lounge closed it. And along the way, the council approved operating agreements at a place called Double T's for a while.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so basically, when the city still had a lounge, they were entering into, the city was entering into operating agreements, which actually competed with the lounge, which I never understood, but I didn't feel like it was my business to interject in that, so I didn't. And things just took their own course. So basically, what we need to do now is effective 1/1/24, since Baltic has by statute, SDCL 35-3-7, long ago submitted a ballot question to the municipality to become a local option municipality. The city of Baltic has held licenses. The city of Baltic has procured on sale and off sale licenses under these categories. On sale, subchapter 4 of 35-4-2, as well as off sale under subchapter 6. And then I'm confirming with the Department of Revenue. I sent Lara Cunningham an email to confirm exactly what number and kinds of licenses have been issued to the city. So the city holds those licenses. And then what happens is that the city enters into agreements to allow private businesses to operate the city's licenses. And we're supposed to be getting record keeping track of invoices and all those things.
So we're the actual stewards of the licenses,
We are.
and they're kind of like the subcontractors.
They really
of
are.
Our liquor licenses, basically, is what it is.
Exactly, Deborah. That's very good points. And in fact, in the statutes, you'll see references to managers of the city's business. Now, Brookings, when I went to college there, anything alcohol, you drove to the liquor store and you had to be old enough to buy it, and I could drink 3-2 beer that's how old I am. But then they got rid of that. So,
Ivy bought the license.
okay, and I know Brookings has made some changes, and the legislature subsequently has created off-sale beer differently.
Mhm.
So basically, off-sale beer can be offered lots of places. But where the city has local option, the city can control everything.
Mhm.
So if that makes sense. So I'm trying to draft a format of really simple operating agreements and just basically say the operator of the business is going to comply with the record keeping and invoicing requirements. And then the city will be paid a markup of 11% for alcohol other than beer and 5% for beer. The city could charge 10% if the city had more scrupulously managed the markup consistently over the years. It could charge up to 10%, but I've made a determination that we're stuck at 5%, which is
Okay.
probably okay. But the idea is that the businesses that operate either on sale or off sale or a combination of alcohol sales in a town like Baltic are avoiding the outlay a substantial sum for a liquor license.
How much is a liquor license in Sioux Falls?
I think it's, don't quote me, maybe Mike knows. I think it's over 200,000.
No,
Yeah, in fact, that's what I was gonna say, but I'm hesitant.
The thing is that it used to be a lot more than that.
Yeah, and.
So 7 months down the road, it's $250,000.
So, and,
Yeah.
and one of you council members pointed out to me in a conversation not long ago that you just add it onto the drink. I mean, it's 5%, it's 11%. Who on earth is gonna quibble about that? And the operator, unlike some kinds of other businesses, can easily pass that on to the consumer. So it's really a win-win then for the city, for the citizens, and for the taxpayers too, because they're getting some return on investment. So that's what I would ask for, and this has to be done by the end of the year.
So what you're asking for is a motion from the council to approve your ability to move forward to restructure these operating agreements and get them signed by the existing subcontractors of the city's liquor licenses and have that done by the end of the year so we can get our state reports done and be up to date. That's what you're looking for us to do
At 11%, 5%.
at 11%, 5%. Any questions about that? Because that's what John needs us to do,
Yeah.
or John is recommending for us to do.
Yeah, recommend.
I do believe other cities do already have this markups in place.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Conversation a couple months ago about this.
That's very good.
How do we monitor this?
By the invoices.
Okay.
Because we need to obtain duplicate copies of invoices from the businesses.
It used to work is when they dropped off at the
Dropped
lounge
here.
at the gas station, then those vendors came here and dropped off the receipts, so we could have a copy, and then
Yeah.
Kathy or the finance officer would go through,
This first out.
find out what the charge was or whatever, and then let the.
I think the key to this whole process is we're gonna try to keep it as simple as possible.
And there's a lot of institutional memory at this table here.
Mhm.
Just, like Ryan, is the administrator, lived it, so he
Yeah.
knows. Lacey's familiar with some of the history, and we talked about that today. And a lot of times you sort of miss where you are today unless you sort of rewind the tape.
Yep.
Because otherwise video lottery is confusing.
Yes,
And the distinction was the city owned the machines. So now what the city can do is charge $50 per machine for a year. So we're gonna do that as part of the operating unit too.
okay.
So
Is that what it is $50? Because I know there used to be a percentage.
It's only 50.
Is it only 50
Yeah.
now?
I couldn't find any authority. Now, if the city had a bar, let's say this city wanted to either, wanted to reopen along, at least shaking your head, no. The city could also engage in the video lottery business. And if it hired a manager, could perhaps negotiate a percentage of the video lottery revenue. But I can tell you from past experience that when the city operated a bar, it was an exponential increase in workload
Yes,
for all kinds of stuff.
yes.
As Nikki's,
Nikki
And I would
remembers
say
going and
first
checking.
video lottery, that was a huge thing because we all got certified, so we could pull the money and you go through, get your. Everything, your filed with the state, you have your background checks. Because then you are the only authorized person to authorize. Yeah, it is a lot, and then you bring your cash. You do all your filing and all your paperwork. It is, that's why towards the end, we hired. Like we usually vendor all outside ones.
Yeah.
Because then they do all the legwork.
Yeah.
And you just get your funding, but if it's only $50, because I'm gonna say, back in the day. We got a lot since it was here, but I know in Fulton, it was a $20,000 revenue for, and all we did is paperwork. So I mean, it was a good revenue.
It's a lot of
for
money.
the Community.
yeah. And frankly, I was, drove by the bar, I was speaking candidly. I thought, that's quite a revenue source.
It is. That bar did well back
It did
in
very
those
well.
days, yeah.
Well, and maybe we'll have a conversation about that, so.
But yeah,
Okay.
and I.
No, not about that, about the building, because everybody's asking about the building,
Okay.
so that conversation.
I do have some.
This is a bench barn.
No.
I think it's really positive. Thank you for just sort of airing this in public. It helps me too, because I want you to know as much as you possibly can and are interested in knowing, because it's all this is, you're entrusted with the responsibility to take care of it. So,
Well, and it's also good that it is out here, and so, because then that way if citizens have questions, we can refer them to the recording and they can hear the entire conversation, so
Yeah.
it's a good thing.
Were these markups ever in past operating agreements?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, just not in door, right?
I think it's so.
Wasn't it when the gas station closed down? And I
Yes.
think it was part of the negotiating back then, that they just wanted a amount that they knew of,
Yeah.
and I think that's when it went to like $1,200 or it was like $100 a month.
Yes.
So they, no matter great sales, they benefited, poor sales, we benefited, but they just wanted a flat dollar amount. So we didn't have to track receipts in the office, they didn't have to get us receipts or copies. So it was kind of simplified that it was gonna be just this way on simplicity. So that was kind of what it had switched to but when the lounge closed down and then P&P's closed down.
Yeah.
Then that's when John drew up a new
Yep.
agreement. And then we switched it up and that was kind of.
So are you ready? Do we have any other questions or discussions for this?
And it needs to authorize the mayor to
Okay.
sign.
Who would like to make a motion?
A lot of words. I'll make the motion.
Yeah.
So I'll make the motion to approve, the new, how do you want me to do it, the new operating agreements? For you to redraft an operating agreements, establishing 11% markup on alcohol,
Yes.
5% on malt liquor,
Right.
and then $50 per machine
Yes.
per bid lot per year. Does that help?
Yes.
Effective January 1st.
Effective 1/1/24.
And then authorize.
The authorization.
Yeah. To complete any additional negotiations and sign. On behalf of the city.
Okay, and then Brian is the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. On to ice rink. It's been pretty warm out. Hit 53 today. It hit 53 today and from my car, so, yeah,
Ice rink. Yeah.
No.
we're looking at a brown Christmas.
Yeah.
That's not me.
Yeah.
Standing forecast still says white Christmas.
Okay,
I heard brown.
Yes.
Okay, anyway. I spoke with Sarah down at the bargain basement and they do not have room for our skates for rentals.
okay. So now we do not have a source to be able to check things in and out.
Yes.
About the library.
I don't know.
Open very.
Very limited and I'm 100% confident Siouxland won't allow it because of the liability of their.
Right.
It's all.
It's all Siouxland, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they would not, would not want that, so.
So the question at hand is how or if City Hall can facilitate a checkout process or people is BYOS, bring your own skates.
How many skates do we have?
Both.
I have no idea.
3 or 4 totes, I think.
You try to sell the skates to the people that either don't have them and want to use them, can purchase them and utilize the rink. And then once they're gone, buy your own skates. Or the rental process would have to be check them out by Friday and return them Monday.
Monday.
With
I
the
said that would be,
deposit.
I hate to have to track them, but that would be the best, because I think once we sold like the skates, then there's no way for us to even track it. If it's feasible to put it up the next year. So,
Yeah,
if someone bought the skates,
Right,
we would never know if anybody's using
They're
it. So this is
there.
the way we at least can track, make sure they're being used. and-
You know, Lacey, are you?
it's more workload, obviously, but I would have to imagine if you could try number the pairs.
They must have some way that they're attracted, right?
That I'm not sure.
Well, we have a
Because
little
I
bit of time.
I had to speak with Sarah and not Sally. Sally's done in the past, so.
You want to do just a little more research and see what you find out and see if that's,
Should we go and see where we can use it?
Well, they're gonna come, I'm pretty sure they're gonna this year. We'll have to figure out something. They're gonna come back here, right? Or are they here already?
You put them in the other shop. We have them already.
Oh,
Yeah, we already have them.
Oh, if there's a shop, Ryan can do it.
Oh, it looks pretty
They're
cool.
already fine.
It's Pod's Rink anyway, isn't that the name of the rink, Pod's Rink?
No. No. I'm going for a pond.
let's do a little more research about what that would look like. And,
Sounds like we got time, so.
yeah, it sounds like we have time, and maybe it's something that we can solidify in the year-end meeting.
Got a game plan for the cold weather snap when it happens for the break.
Well, I mean, it is, it's just waiting, because I mean. Knowing what they had said before, how that liner gets ripped, it starts, I mean, it's. Hopefully we get, once we get below freezing, it stays below, I mean, even a little bit
Right.
colder, because I think it. You know, it has to warm up around that outside, just like anything around, like the pond and even like the lagoons, it starts melting that edge and. We're gonna have a good cold and, but that's it, once it is, we're gonna set it up and. It'd be nice if it was gonna be a quick snap and then we could set it up on a warm day and then it'll be cold days later, but. It's,
Man, I
I
wish I could predict the future like that.
was gonna say, I think it's gonna be cold and we're gonna get it set up when it's cold and.
Well, we appreciate it.
Well, we're gonna, maybe
We'll
we'll
see.
see first,
I
maybe we
know.
get a lot of snow and then.
Yeah, we don't know. We'll just do it. We trust you to do the best you can. Just keep us up,
Someone asked why did we just leave Rink pond?
you
I
know.
don't think that's liability though.
Yeah.
Well, no one's gonna drown in it at least.
Okay.
It's just-
It's not very deep, you can see the rock.
I know, now that we've had it dredged, you know, it's gonna have someone's leg's gonna go in.
East side really shallow.
Yeah, that's, the rocks are out of time or tree, so. And
Well,
yeah,
yeah, west side can't be that deep either.
no, when they were cleaning it out, I think maybe 3 feet deep,
Yeah.
maybe at the most. In the deep spot when it's drained like this.
It's really interesting to see that, and now we're like, you know, maybe it could be an ice rink someday, and that would make more sense.
Beautiful pond by Hill City, freezes over and they skate on
Maybe,
It's
maybe we
awesome.
could ship that in here.
it. But it's kind of like a Murphy's Pond. It's, you know, so.
Well,
beautiful.
okay. All right, snow removal. What's that about? I think we should make a motion that we don't have a lot of snow this year.
Okay.
And we like,
Because it wasn't finalized last time, so last time we had it on here, it kind of got pushed to the side, so I thought it needed to be on here.
okay,
Was that the stuff about the sign having to be moved? Did we combine that with one?
oh, yeah, Nordic track, or the Nordic field,
Oh,
thank you.
oh,
You're right.
yeah, I relayed or emailed Dr. Bass. It's a for the board meeting, so I figured I'd got a response. After the board, they had a board meeting Monday night.
I believe so.
So then I haven't heard anything. So I asked wait for. a
Lacey, would you
response.
just make a note on that agenda item that it's Nordic field and not snow removal, so that way we know what it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank
so I
God
just
we have
gotta wait.
coffee, so we could
I'll
all.
reach out to them again. I was just figuring, not knowing what's going on
Yeah.
at school, if they're busy or not.
Okay, so that sounds good. On to 2024 election, we have, award 1 and award 2 position coming up for 2024 election. I looked at the calendar. Let me bring it back up again. We need to make a decision about whether or not our election date's gonna be April 9th or June 4th, but we have until, we still have time to decide what date we want. I think it's January 15th, no later than January 14th, we have to decide or whatever. I've been having some discussion and Lacey's been doing some research about ward lines because we do typically what they like us to do in ward lines is make sure there isn't more than a 10% disparity in the wards. And we absolutely have, we are really lopsided between Ward 1 and Ward 2. So I know the previous administration had some conversation about, first of all, we all know we had to clarify what the ward lines were. So that happened. And then, there was discussion in the previous administration about whether or not to add a third ward, change the ward lines, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, we were waiting on census data, I think is what.
That is exactly what was happening. So we did the census data and we have that. Lacey's been doing some research from CCOG about what to do. And, basically, long story short, I would like to recommend our election to be on June 4th, so that way maybe we can just redraw Ward 1, Ward 2, so it fits within the 10% parameters. Or at least evaluate whether or not it makes more sense to have 3 wards. We're probably gonna end up with 2 wards and have it more fairly split. But doesn't Colton have 3? Yeah, Colton has 3 wards. And there's a lot of towns that have 3 wards. We're at that tipping point where we could have 3 wards and it would be
How many council
reasonable.
members?
You have 2.
We have 6. Colton has 6.
And I'm a fan of more hands make lighter work. I'm a fan of that. And so do you have anything else you can add from the previous administration and what their thought process was when it came to word lines or additional?
It was basically the same. I mean, we knew that you want it to be fairly similar. on word to word, and we were waiting on obviously census data to confirm that. Yeah, obviously, you can see where the town evolves and that population is gonna change a little bit.
Mhm.
There's been conversations, but it all came down to wait until the census data was finalized to figure out. But I think that was about transition time-ish,
Mhm.
roughly before, and then just nothing ever got changed. I don't think I don't know what the census data approved, but I don't, because the census really didn't change. That's
When it was
exactly
during
what
COVID,
counted.
it took forever for them to
Well,
get the
it
numbers
was,
out. It was
I don't know,
ridiculous.
something was odd about it, because I think our number actually went down,
It did,
yeah, so.
just like a smidge, but
Yeah,
it
so
went
it
down.
was, I don't know, it was kind of off and nothing ever got.
So CCOG, is gonna, work with us and give us a timeline of, basically how you go about evaluating that. So I would like the time to be able to do that, to make sure that, we can get it a little more even. And so I would like to recommend making the election day June 4th rather than April 9th. And I don't know how you guys feel about that, but it's something we need to decide. We have to decide by January 14th, right?
Really nice.
So we have time, or we can decide now, whatever you want to do.
So I guess this is for John, because everybody seems like that when they have 2 aldermen or council members per ward. Can you have like more people per ward, or is it 2 per ward? Or do you have
Question.
It's actually 2 aldermen per ward in an aldermanic format, but there is an update in the ordinance that you can also have at-large now. So if we add a 3rd ward, we could do an at-large. Or otherwise, it's 2 aldermen per ward that have to live in the ward in which they are running. I'm pretty,
that's what I've never, I mean,
I'm extremely familiar in Baltic's election laws.
You know what, our time just had.
So I mean, that's another way to look at it. So I would like to propose having those conversations and moving the election day to June 4th. So yeah,
Are we back to a 2 and 2 every other year election
that's where we'll be at.
after the June?
Mhm. I had it in my head somehow. I don't know that if we had that 3rd ward, it'd be great because then we could do, every year. But if we did a 3rd ward, maybe what we could do is do a stagger and have, one be in one election, one be in the other election. So we're not having elections
No,
constantly.
you don't want to keep it, you don't want it every year because if people are gonna get so bored.
Well, and it's expensive for the city.
Well, yeah.
It's $400 for an election.
So if you go 3 and 3 every other year, every 2 years,
It makes more sense.
a lot more sense.
Yeah. And so, yeah, anyway, that's where we're at. Are you guys comfortable making a decision now, or do you want to wait and think about it and we table this until the next meeting?
I don't think there's any harm in tabling it until the next meeting.
Nope.
To
No
see
harm
if
at all.
something that's even feasibly done in that short time frame for only pushing it back.
Are there any other elections in the spring?
School board, obviously.
2 school boards
Mhm.
decisions, I believe, in the in April.
When is theirs?
But we've got the facility here to do, we've got the facility here to do our.
Yeah,
elections. That's what matters.
It's-
And our
yeah.
cost is down and keep it in-house. So
Yeah, and our cost is the same, it doesn't
yeah,
matter.
costs, we're gonna have to pay costs involved either way.
I did talk to Dr. Bass to see if he would be okay with holding both of them here,
Mhm.
and then bring back from that.
Okay,
He stopped in one day and we chatted about it.
nice. Okay, well then let's just table this one and we can make a decision later.
Need a motion?
Not to table.
Okay.
So now we already handled Liberty Coffee, so now we're to end of your supplemental budget. So Lacey, did we have anything that we had to adjust to get everything squared off?
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Okay,
Okay, so I will say that Paul upon some help, and they're coming tomorrow morning to double check all of this with me since this was the first run through of this.
okay,
But we went over, and I'm guessing it's because of, it all has to do with legal fees and a lot of engineering fees. That's why the parks are so high and the council is so high.
mhm,
The public safety, we under budgeted because we put an additional 10,000 to the Del Rapids ambulance,
mhm,
and the sheriff fees went up. Sanitation, we didn't budget for the increase of fuel charges. West Nile, we budgeted for the cost of the supplies. We did not budget for the services through Minnehaha County,
Through,
through the city of Sioux Falls.
that's or they'll do the accounts and all that stuff, so we can see those.
Sure.
No,
Back in the day, it used to be a wash, kind of what we got for our grant. We just paid for the city of Sioux Falls for the mosquito counts. Which was higher. Sanitation is just the fuel surcharge. Lacey was going through when we were sitting there, there was 1 month that we got a 16% charge for our contract because it was fuel had to be over, I think, I looked at the rate, it was over like $5.30.
Sure.
So that's, I mean, that's a, what, $1,500.
$1,500 that month for fuel surcharge.
Fuel surcharge.
Is that surcharge capped?
No, it's a percentage. It's
Yeah.
broke down.
So-
If the cost is this much, we pay that much in percentage. If it's this much, it's that percentage.
So do we need to adjust our sanitation piece then?
Please.
Well,
Does this mean that we lost $8,000 on garbage service?
we didn't, we just
Didn't
didn't.
budget.
Budget, budget for it
Yeah.
that way.
Okay,
So we didn't have it listed as budget. We probably had the revenue source. It just wasn't
okay,
budgeted. But yeah, I was looking back and we were looking for the contract, so I went through and
Mhm.
I know back in 2018, they had a lot broader gap in between, like from $2.76 to $3.50. That was the big gap where there was zero up and down, but now they tightened it a little bit, so it's
It's,
at $3.75, it's two, it's $3.75, there's 2% and it goes all the way up to, I think, $6.50, $7 for fuel. But then on the reverse side, we get a little bit closer. There's only 2 months with 0%, so then I think they give us a little bit benefit a little bit earlier than they used to, so if it's under, $3, then we might get a 2% gain back on it, but it used to be a lot broader range, but now they tightened it up a little bit, but I never see it going under.
Fuel trade off right after we approve all of this stuff too.
So that's, I think, the huge hit on that, so.
I think we were teetering on it when you guys approved it.
mhm,
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
like, we better do
obviously-
it now, lock it in because.
Right, and obviously fuel, I mean, you're stuck regardless. I mean, you're gonna, it's a pass-through expense. It's just part of doing business, but yeah, it just sucked it. And I take off like it did.
I also think it's fair noting that, we were perfectly aware of the overages on the legal fees, but we were hoping to recoup that with the terms of the settlement agreement that we're still waiting to have that be fully realized. So even though this looks like we were really off in our budgeting, I think that we have appropriately prepared as much as we could.
So stating that, last year, I think that our supplemental was 87,000 or something.
We had project
Oh.
skipping over there that they didn't put on budget, so
Yeah.
that's why.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, we had all of those fun financial surprises
Skip
last year
over there, Fourth Street paving, there's
Yeah.
a lot of different things that.
that weren't even put in the budget.
Well, and in fairness to the council, litigation is always termed as an extraordinary expense.
Yes.
Nobody, unless you have some ongoing multi-year nightmare, there's no way to budget for litigation.
I
you
choose
also
not to
support
budget
that.
for this next year, but, okay. So, what do we need to do? Do we need to, approve this ordinance as is? Do you need to have somebody vet this, make sure this is exact? How do you want us to do it?
Just first reading. I'll
Okay.
bring it back to you again when we come in for the end of the year meeting.
Okay, perfect. Any questions, guys? Well done. Well done.
Lacey, what was the 27,000 for finance?
A little bit of everything, to be honest with you.
Can you give us a breakdown of that?
We were under on wages just a little bit. The wages were involved, the insurance was involved, services, we went over just a little. Equipment. That was a problem, well, because we got the new machine,
Oh,
because the old one broke.
Yep, we needed that necessary. Okay,
gotcha. Thank you.
Yep,
any other questions, guys? Okay, first reading. And then, as far as the water rates, we had them originally as a resolution, but in fact, they need to be ordinances.
yeah.
Yep, so we need to get those crafted up, or do we have those crafted up?
I sent some draft language to Lacey.
Okay.
both researched this together and concluded that unfortunately, we'll have to amend the ordinance to provide for future rates to be set by resolution because currently they're specifically stated by dollar amount in the ordinance.
Ordinance.
I just,
Guys, we got work to do.
yeah, we do. We have work to do.
Cannot be in an ordinance.
We've got a tremendous amount of work to do.
Actually, I've been working with a few other finance officers on this and they've sent me some of the most beautiful language in it that changes it on an ordinance or changes it on a resolution. And I'm like, where's ours? And
It's an ordinance.
in our conversation, we could not find it.
And
So
Lacey.
you make me excited because.
Well, Lacey, I just put together some language that would work for us to have an ordinance first reading, but here's some light at the end of the tunnel. Lacey mentioned that she talked to a finance officer somewhere who mentioned an emergency provision. And I said to Lacey, I said, you know, that hits me right, that there is a very narrow category of ordinances that can be passed on a basis that they're effective immediately due to an emergency that falls within a certain defined list of criteria. So I did research that and I actually sent you, Deborah, a copy of the email to Lacey. So we don't have to wait for 20 days after publication.
Okay, yeah,
So that's to make a project start with that as the intro point. But the bottom line is that we can eliminate that 20-day period by declaring an emergency. In my opinion, is that looking at sewer and water rates fits within the category of essential government services that
Yes.
need to be funded. So I have no problem signing off on that.
okay,
So we can at least, so we could have a series of special meetings
and just get this done.
and just get it done. We could,
Okay.
but it's up to you.
So we don't have anything for our first reading today.
Unfortunately not. It
Okay.
just wasn't.
No, I know, it's okay, it's okay. I'm just being clear.
Yeah.
And so, we're gonna have to check availability for people anyway.
Yeah.
Because we have to have that year-end meeting anyway, so let's,
But I did work today on the ordinance. Finagling, drafting, revising, so I could fold those into an ordinance amendment format very quickly, you know, probably half hour, 45 minutes, I could have both of them done.
Wait, are we better than I am?
Well, it's my rodeo.
so are we gonna need one or two meetings before the end of the month is my question.
Well,
We know we need year-end anyway.
first reading, second reading, and then we've got effective date immediately. I mean, you'd publish, it's just that you can implement the changes starting right away on 1/1/24.
Cause what we're,
Can you start and have your first meeting and second meeting on the same day?
no, we gotta have 5 days between. But here's the deal, guys, we could do a first meeting with the reading and we can do that a Teams meeting remotely. It's not.
Well, the only reason I asked is, declaring an emergency.
I mean, can you set it, so if you're only billing, can you like say this is the new billing rate, so we won't bill out till January or middle of January, right? So you have to have it so
Good.
the rates are set from January 1, or you can just set it as these are our new current rates and this is what we're billed out.
Well, that's a very interesting point. Okay, we could have an ordinance amendment that says that these are gonna be the new rates, and thereafter they can be set by resolution. You could do it that way, if you wanted to. If you need to specify a certain rate to be effective on an emergency basis before 20 days of publication,
Mhm.
you could say, these are the rates effective 1/1/24, and future changes will be by resolution rather than by ordinance.
I like that.
That's way to have it both ways.
So you guys, I'm looking at the calendar because we have 2 full weeks left in the year. Who's traveling and when are you traveling?
Gone from
Years.
basically Christmas through New Year's.
Okay,
But I'm just kind of looking at, I know you want to get this done, but since we don't bill out till the end of January, do you need to push it in?
oh, what you're saying is we can do the first reading at the end of year and then do the second reading at our meeting in January. I got
Because
it.
we won't bill out till.
Because it won't.
I like that, it's only 2 meetings before the end of the year.
I like it too. Yeah.
Are you available remotely the last week?
No.
Okay. Cause don't we have to meet the last week, right?
Yeah,
It's
usually
kinda
we-
required.
Usually try to meet, so it'll probably be the
Is there anyone else that isn't available the last week of December?
29th or 28th typically. You try to cram the last feasible day before the year end.
Right,
That's what we did last year.
like the 28th is what I'm looking at. Is there anyone other than Travis not available on the 28th?
I may or may not be.
But you'd be
But
available?
yeah, I'm looking right. I can do it over the phone.
Okay. On Teams or phone?
You'll have to show me how to do Teams if you want me on Teams.
Okay, let's tentatively set our end of year meeting for the 28th. I know I jumped around a little bit, but
What, I'm sorry, what date?
28th?
Okay, 12/28.
Okay, and then we can have first run of the resolutions, or excuse me, the water rates. We can have first run of those on the 28th, and then we can finalize the employee wage review too. I have some data. We're still waiting for more data to come in, and so we're gonna be able to do that. Right?
Yep, I think I got about everything I'm gonna get for you. I just have to
Put it all together.
put it in a report.
Yep, okay. And then, okay, so we got through business. Engineering update, as always, Justin submits a fantastic engineering report.
Let's go hit
Oh, yeah, I gotta take a minute and share this with you.
it out of the park.
So what we're trying to do is we are trying to get to a place where we have a final punch list for the developer in both Rink Park and in Phillips Crossing, so that way we know undeniably documented checklist of what needs to happen to move us towards acceptance. And so I have to say that Justin Heim and Ryan Fods did an exemplary job of going through piles of paper, you know, both of the developments, documenting everything and being very clear about what the deficiencies still are. And what needs to happen so that way the developer is presenting us a development that meets its own specs requirements as well as city ordinances, as well as meets the criteria of the settlement agreement. And I think they even looked at the Danner settlement agreement as well. So I can't even tell you guys what a good job these guys did, and they put a ton of time into it. So it really, kudos. Thank you both for that. Thank you both for that. Yes, John?
I should also point out that one of the things that Justin did and Ryan worked on is incorporating the terms of the settlement agreement between Grant Park and the Department of Ag and Natural Resources with respect to those deficiencies that DANR identified that correspond to requirements that the developer has yet to fulfill, especially with respect to, the growth of vegetation, soil erosion controls, grading, a whole host of issues, and that people may be interested in knowing that DANR assessed an additional $23,000 in fines and penalties against Grant Park Capital for failing to abide by the terms of the separate settlement agreement between Grant Park, DANR, which was entered into in June of 2023, shortly before the settlement agreement was entered into between Grant Park Capital and the city of Baltic. So there is a one-to-one correlation between a number of the critical requirements for Grant Park Capital to be in compliance under its stormwater permits with the state, but also directly relate to problems with respect to Grant Park Capital's development in Grant Park. And what we have is a visual, one of the big heavy lifts for Ryan Fods and Justin Heim was to go through the hundreds of pages of plans and specifications for each of the developments, Phillips Crossing and Grant Park, and identify those specific standards set forth in the plans and specifications that are incomplete and have not been fulfilled. You know, for example, grading and restoring curb backs, grading around fire hydrants, which is a public safety, life safety issue. And it was Mike Coopin is here. So, I mean, I would sure think that the firefighters wouldn't want to have to dig out a fire hydrant in order to provide life-saving or property-saving services to emergency situations. But now we've done the developer's work for him, unfortunately, and the city is incurring the expense of doing that by having a document that would be useful in any administrative or judicial proceeding in terms of exactly what it is, specifically in terms of engineering standards that indicate what needs to be done before these developments can be accepted. It's in black and white now. In fact, it's in color.
It isn't.
You know, it's in technicolor as well as black and white. So we have, I believe, I want to say a 71-page document, Ryan, and another document that's 50 pages, which has specific links to the plans and specifications provisions. And I should say, by the way, that the developer's engineer has certified that everything is performed. Well, it isn't. I mean, so we're at a point of a little bit of frustration, but on the other hand, it's up to the developer to step up and comply with the requirements of its own plans and specifications in addition to the ordinances and the subdivision regulations. So what I would like the city council to authorize tonight is to allow me and Ryan and Justin to put all of that documentation into a transmissible format and provide it to Granite Park's lawyers so they could just have it. And they're either going to comply with these requirements or just remain in default.
Because they've been pretty much radio silence. I want to add to that, whoever our developer committee is. So I think Ed is part of that too.
He is.
And so, if we can have the developer committee be able to vet that, make sure that's good, because they've been the group that's been vetting this the entire way. And then making that available to, the developer. I also would ask, the council that we make that document available on the city's website, so the public can see it too, because it's something that all the taxpayers should probably be aware of, because people are, unsure what the status is. So those are the collective recommendations, so.
And we could talk about this in executive session, but what's the point? Let's just have total transparency, let everybody know what's going on. Because these are real issues and they affect the public. They affect everybody.
Do we need a motion or do we just need a nod?
I think that no, I don't know that we need a motion. I mean, you could direct me to do things and
So any discussion on these two items?
Should we just make a motion just to cover all bases?
absolutely, Ryan. I think that'd be perfectly appropriate if you'd like to do that.
We'll make a motion to authorize John, Ryan, and Justin to,
And
and.
Just say that it's
excuse
our
me,
committee. It's
Developer committee to make public the documents related to Grand Park Capital
and submit to the attorney.
and submit to the attorney at Grand Park Capital.
I'll second.
All right, so I got Ryan on the first,
Brian.
Brian on the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes to make that communication available. I know I didn't mean to steal your thunder, Justin, but you did a really good job with your report and you had a lot of good information. Anything else you want to add?
I can just add a couple quick things. Not a whole lot of updates within the report. Everything is on there. You guys hit the development, but just a few things we're doing in the background now, based on last council meeting and previous comments, just on some of the traffic concerns along Lovely Avenue, looking into traffic calming measures there. A lot of those implementation items are better suited for the spring. That way Ryan doesn't have to, deal with stuff, plowing around, etc. So what our team is doing is creating a memo. We'll have some displays, hopefully be able to have that for that first meeting in January. Also, you'll see in there timeline for the capital improvement plan. So January meeting, expect a draft report. That will be, a 50+ page report that I expect every one of you guys to take time to read. Just kidding,
Yeah.
no reaction there, especially you, Ryan. But really, it'll be a full comprehensive report. Can give you guys the cliff notes, but just making sure we get your guys' input on that before we finalize it. Then looking to finalize in February, and then we'll adopt and implement.
Great.
Thank you for all your work. Ryan, thank you for all your work. Okay. Finance officer update.
You're, were we?
No, maintenance update, sorry.
Yeah, that's good, that's good.
Is there anything else that we need to know, Ryan? Because I know that the bulk of your time is spent on that.
Weather, no, that was one, but the weather's been great, so we're doing things, but we actually got our playground equipment delivered. One last week, one that I thought was actually the delivery was another one that they delivered without kind of even giving me notice, so I was like. Got the other one today, so. I'm gonna try to line up getting the transit, so then we'll try to start, I think we'll remove water tower park line next week.
Sure.
That playground or that swing set. Try to get some dirt work done there. And maybe start digging out some of the dirt work in Bird Park just to get it set up, so if the ground's harder, well, it's dry, I mean, there's no moisture in it, so. Should be able to get the dirt work done, so then right away in spring, we should be able to start putting that stuff up and get which is, so that was kind of exciting that. it's-
Nice,
but
Yeah.
no, it's just-
Good news.
It's a great winter, fall, but no, it's just busy. A lot of work outside that once we got done, that it's been so nice, so.
That's perfect. Thank you.
so,
Did you ever hear back from the baby contractor? Okay,
They gave me the response.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
You guys are also gonna be hearing from Dan Mullen. He called me today about, slurry. You talked about slurry stuff.
Yeah.
So I told him to talk to you and to you about it. Okay, because the city of Sabals is looking at their stuff.
oh, if they're gonna go out.
Yeah, and then they work with other cities, just like Ryan had mentioned before.
Yeah.
He just wanted to check with the city of Baltic and see where we stood on that stuff. So if you want to reach out to him proactively, you can. Otherwise, I told him to get a hold of you guys.
Talk to them, and yeah, the one thing is, it's always.
Cost.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So,
Perfect. Anything else?
oh, that for the sign, we were okay. I did get contact back from CHS and they'd rather have us go with solar. So
Perfect.
that.
Makes sense.
More expensive solar was the actual, solar panel, was what I was thinking, it was like $550 to try that one. You guys are all okay with that one, right?
Yeah.
To go with that dollar amount. A little bit different, so, okay. No, but yeah.
How long does it take to get that in?
I'm pretty sure it'll be shipped. Could order it. I can order it today, but then I was like, I think it's over my threshold. So I don't know.
We have to look sign this winter?
Yeah, we should be able to.
For both?
No, we're just gonna try the one, see if,
Okay.
see if it works.
Sure.
And it might be bright enough that, I mean, make another fancy bracket, it might shine enough down on the one and broadcast the other one, so. No, I just wanted to, for the price on that is about
Okay.
$600, so.
Okay. That's good.
Great.
Anything else?
I'll think of something.
Shortest report ever when he's not shopping.
Your budget's coming in.
Not for a while, please.
Too expensive.
Miss Finance Officer.
Yeah, right?
I finally got response back from Stephanie with the chickens. She recommends setting a class up in January.
Oh,
And
Okay.
she's like, I'm more than happy to come out.
perfect.
She says we set up a time in January and get back to her and she'll be here.
Perfect.
Yeah. Put it that way. Nice.
Good job. Anything else?
I just wanted to let everybody know that this year, we have signed up 42 new utilities and 15 new homes into town.
Woo, woo.
Nice.
Ooh.
Nice.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it.
We have another one that's closing tomorrow.
Mhm.
It's a new resident. Another one, existing house, yep, and another one, I think at the end of the week.
And Lacey's also working furiously on getting this new software rolled out. So she's being humble and she's not really mentioning it, but it's a lot of work and I'm gonna be going toe to toe with her on that from now until the end of the month to make sure that we go live. So, and then from there, we might have some new processes where the residents might get excited because they'll be able to interact a little bit more. So more information to come.
The reports that people can see on their side are
Phenomenal.
so neat.
Yeah, you guys are gonna love it.
Any new home permits coming through?
Not for a while.
That's okay. All right. Anything else?
No,
Okay, cool. I reached out to Lacey and I know that she was having some technical difficulties and so we're gonna table her report for now unless you have something Miss Brandon then? She's just been chugging, making sure that all the communication stuff was going. So since we haven't had a special event, I know that there were some questions about doing a Christmas light contest. I don't know if it's too late in the game to actually turn that around. I mean, all the lights are up. It's been warm, but there's been a ton of people putting up lights, but I don't know if you guys want to spin a contest out really quick before Christmas
There's some
or.
nice lights out there.
Nice weather really made a big difference this year.
Yeah, it did.
Lot more than it's.
So I wasn't sure if you guys want to discuss that at all.
Why not? Broadcast all the way across town?
I think it's a little late.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
fine.
it's probably a little late to do, I mean, to do it effectively, you don't wanna
Sure.
halfway do
Yep, no problem.
it.
So next year, I'll add that to the list.
Yep,
Ask with the Murphy Pond lights. I
Yeah.
totally agree that we should, sorry, Ryan, we totally should have put lights up down there.
Well, and that, yeah, that was a conversation at least that we had in.
I thought there is lights on there.
There was.
There was, but they
But
were
we
getting
had,
down to the
yeah,
side.
and there's like fairly early in that we wanted to do, or broadcast, or look at the idea of making Murphy's Pond in the winter wonderland. Nice part, center of town, it's very cool if you could swap those lights all over, because I think that transition from
This guy's so.
we used to do it downtown on the poles, but Excel doesn't do that anymore. Like something we could do. Make it all winter wonderland. Christmas decoration, basically. The biggest problem was fireworks.
Yeah.
It's already
One outfit, isn't it?
one with a gazebo, I think is all there is.
One, and it's a long pole, so that's when we're having issues, and I talked to the old Hubers, and they said back, it was probably years ago, they talked about getting more power down there, and so they were trying to figure out if they could more underneath the road from the school,
John?
bus barn.
we can hear you.
Sorry.
Yeah, and then push it through that way, or they'd have to run a whole service
Yeah, it was,
down from, well, it's, where the power comes is from the scoreboard, or not the scoreboard, the school sign.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's a long draw.
Yep.
Get
That
power
was-
down there.
Well, you can just run lights on every tree from that spot all the way.
that's basically where the conversation died at, was just the expense and problem to route that much power, but I want to make sure it was a conversation piece to keep open if we do decide to
I
do
like
something like that, but
Thank you.
they've got a lot of good backing and being,
Lot of good
it's
feedback.
a centerpiece of town, man. I mean, you can make
Yeah.
it, you can make it awesome.
Well, then we have a year to plan. Maybe we can have a group of volunteers to help or something.
And I completely forgot about it, so yeah, a week before Christmas, so whatever, it's all goes.
I have it on the calendar for the checklist for next year.
Perfect.
We'll be good. We got it.
There's no lights current.
Legal updates.
I think I've.
You've done a great job.
This
evening.
Like with funds, we've covered it along the way, so
Yep.
I don't have anything to add.
Any council or mayor updates?
Christmas light deal is all I had.
You guys, I think we're executive session free too this time, aren't we? So we are to adjournment. It is only 8:13, ladies and gentlemen.
Holy cow.
I would make a motion to adjourn.
I.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
I.
Any opposed? Come on, no one's gonna oppose. Come on. All right, motion passes. We're adjourned. Good night, Baltic. Bye, Dustin.
Thanks for coming, Mike.
Speed meeting, everything.
Yeah.